We continue now at the top of Daf Kufya Dalit Amud Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 114b. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas amuraim. Let's say people make a kinyan sudar in order to finalize some kind of verbal agreement. So the assumption is that it's not finalized immediately upon making the kinyan sudar. There is some amount of time to retract on these kind of verbal agreements. And the machlokas amuraim is how much time is there to retract. Rabba says as long as they're still sitting in the same place, they can retract. And Rav Yosef says as long as they're still discussing the same matter, they are able to retract. And the Gemara wanted to bring a proof from Rav Yehuda's statement about three people who are visiting somebody who is sick and he's giving them instructions for the will. So it said they can convene a court over there in order to finalize his instructions. And so the Gemara says, what do you mean they can finalize his instructions? Isn't there a certain amount of time? According to Rabba, the amount of time is as long as they are sitting. So as long as they're sitting in the same place, he can still retract. So what's the point of convening a court over there? And Rav Ashi said, why is that any more of a question on Rabba than it is on Rav Yosef? On Rav Yosef also, as long as they're still discussing the same matter, he's able to retract. So what's the point of convening a court? And so Rav Ashi says, you're going to have to answer for Rav Yosef that they already concluded Me'inyana Le'inyana. They already went from one topic to the other. And that's why at this point in time, it is not possible for him to retract. That's why they're able to convene a court. But Hachanami, but here also, meaning according to Rabba as well, you can give the same answer. To Kamu v'Hadar Yasiva, they got up and they're sitting in a different place, and that's why at this point in time it's no longer a point in time where they're able to retract. That's what we will have to answer, and that's why they can convene a court in this situation. So again, we still have this machlokas amoraim between Rav Yosef and Rabba. Rav Yosef says that one can retract as long as they're discussing the same matter, and Rabba says as long as they're sitting in the same place, that's how long they can retract. And the Gemara says v'hilchasan, the halacha is kivasi de Rav Yosef. The halacha is like Rav Yosef besada inyanu mechsa, meaning in three areas where Rav Yosef argues with Rabba. That's the case of Sada, the case of Inyan, and the case of Mechsa. In those three cases, the halacha is like Rav Yosef. Otherwise, the halacha is like Rabba. And the Rashbam explains, V'hilchasa kivase de Rav Yosef besada, the halach is like Rav Yosef in these three cases. The first case is Sada, beparakama, that's in the first parak of this Masechet. Amar Rav Yosef, Matzi Amar le Malina loch kenichse de Bar Merion. The case over there is dealing with a situation of brothers that are dividing a property, and one of the brother wants to get a piece of property that's near his other property, and so the other brothers are able to respond according to Rav Yosef that we believe this property is very high quality, like the property of Bar Merion, and therefore we want this specific property. And Inyan, in the case of Inyan, Amr, that's our case. That's where Rav Yosef says you're able to retract as long as they're discussing in the same inyan. Again, as long as they haven't gone me'inyana le'inyana, as long as they haven't gone from one topic to the other. And finally, the third case is umechsa, the case of half. That's lekamon b'mishameis. That's later on in this Mesechet in Parak Mishameis. Ahuda Amr ledevisu nichse lach v'levrach. A person says to his wife that I'm giving my property to you and I'm giving it to your son. Amr Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says kanoi palga. Rav Yosef says you divide the property 50-50. The darish v'aisal li'aron levanav. We make a drasha. Mechza li'aron, umechza levanav, half for Aaron and half for his children. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Ho isha es benav v'chulu. It said that a mother bequeaths to her son, and also that a wife bequeaths to her husband. And so the Gemara says, Hasu lamali. Why do we need this case further? Hatanale reisha. We already said this in the beginning of the Mishnah, just from the other perspective. We said, Ho isha es ima. We said that a man inherits from his mother. That's the same idea that the mother bequeaths to her son. We said, Ho isha es ishta. We said a husband inherits from the wife. That's the same idea saying that a wife bequeaths to her husband. So why do we need to repeat it? And the Gemara answers, Hakamash Malon, it's coming to teach us the Isha es Bina, Dumya the Isha es Bala, that when it comes to a mother giving over to her son, that is similar to a wife giving to her husband, and it's similar in the following fashion. Ma Isha es Bala, just like when it comes to a wife to her husband, Ein Habal Yoresh es Ishto Bekever. The halach is that the husband does not inherit from his wife when she is in the grave. This was a halacha we had earlier, that when a husband inherits from the wife, he's only inheriting muchzak, he is not inheriting roy. What that means is that when the wife dies, whatever she's actually in possession of at that time, the husband can inherit. But let's say the wife dies, and then somebody else dies who the wife would have inherited from, and so then you'll say maybe the husband should be able to inherit because he inherits the wife. That we do not say. That's considered something that's roy. It's fit to come to the wife later on, but she doesn't have it right now, so the husband is not going to inherit that when that other individual dies. And so the Gemara says it's similar in the case of Isha Espina. Af Isha Espina, so too, in a situation where a son inherits from his mother, ein haben yoresh es imo bekever. The son rather, is not able to inherit from his mother in the kever. Now, in this case, it's talking about when the son has already died. Let's say the son dies first, and then the mother dies. Lahanchil la'achin min ha'av. So then the question is, do we say that a son inherits from the mother? And so therefore, if the son is not alive, but the son has some brothers who are brothers from his father, some paternal brothers, maybe those brothers should now inherit, because we're saying that the son would have inherited his mother and he's not alive, so maybe that should go to the brothers from the father. We do not say that, and it's similar to the case again before, similar to the case by the husband and the wife, talking about situations where the person who is supposed to inherit is no longer alive. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shimon, Dvar Torah, according to the Torah, Ha'av Yoresh Espano, a father can inherit from his son, V'isha Yoresh Espano, and a mother also can inherit from her son. And this goes against what the Mishnah said. The Mishnah said that a son inherits from his mother, but the mother does not inherit from her son. Here we're saying, no, a mother can inherit from her son as well. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Matos, it says Matos, Makish Mate Ha'em Lamate Ha'av. We compare the tribe of the mother to the tribe of the father. Just like by the father inherits his son. So too by the mother, Isha Yoreshes Espino, a mother can inherit from her son. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Tes Vav Amud Aleph.